I'm making this video strictly because I'm tired of hearing people say how hard it is to make friends as an adult. And then when you ask them, well, what are you doing to make friends? Most of the time is they're just staying in the house. Come on. We're going to talk about how to make friends as an adult. And I want to make sure that we get over the notion that we need to have that circle of friends. You're no longer in high school, baby. So it may not be the same way how you envisioned friendship should be. It may look a little different now, and that's okay. The first question I ask someone when they tell me, oh, I'm having a hard time making friends, is what are you doing to make friends? And they'll be like, oh, I've tried Bumble BFF and I tried planning something, but then they said no, or they ghosted me, and then nothing happened with it. So I would then ask them, but how long have you been doing it? Well, I tried it for a little while, like maybe once or twice, and then I got off the app. What have you done in your life where it only required one try and then you were perfect at it? So why do you think making friendships doesn't require just as much? Nakia, well, I tried it multiple times and it just didn't work. Think about all the things that you have tried in your lifetime so far, and what happened every time you gave up on something? Nothing. And most of the time, if anything, what usually happens is it comes back up again, and you realize that you have to get this thing done eventually. Friendships are a lot like dating. Imagine you did the same thing for dating and you were like, oh, it's not working, so I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna stay in the house, hope that I find a person, but I'm not gonna do anything or make any efforts to find that right person. And you just completely close yourself off from meeting any potential prospects at all. You most likely wouldn't do that, because I see people drive themselves to exhaustion because they want to find someone, because they realize it's something that they need. Now, I'm not saying you need to be all desperate to find a man, but I'm just giving this as an example that friendships is something that you need. You are social beings, so it's something that you can't run away from, and you usually will suffer for consequences when you're not looking for friends actively. In a healthy way, of course. Here's the reasons why I feel it's harder, just based on me making friends and observing other people who are making friends. People give up way too quickly when it comes to creating friendships. Another one is people get very busy, and so they end up prioritizing work and all the other things that life brings to you. And then usually it's something that they quickly realize down the line when they're all alone and they feel lonely and they realize they don't have any friends, and they just fail to prioritize those things in their life on top of doing adult things. They get discouraged way too quickly. As soon as someone doesn't agree to meet with them or they put themselves out there, they go back into the shell because they're like, oh my gosh, I put myself out there and it didn't work. They don't take the initiative and make plans actively with people. And instead, they're waiting for someone else to make the plan so then they can go somewhere. Stop waiting on people to ask you to go somewhere. You do it. They let the changes of friendships affect their self-esteem. Meaning, they mentally planned in their mind to be friends with that person forever. So when that friendship changes, they automatically get insecure, they get hurt, I understand that. But then they think, well, I can no longer make friends now. And they stop trying because one failed friendship happened or multiple failed friendships happened. So it causes them to no longer want to try because it changed. The dynamic of the friendship changed. They may not be close anymore, or their views changed, whatever that may be. They constantly tell themselves a fake story. What do I mean by that? Is they tell themselves, oh, no one's gonna like me, I'm boring, people are not gonna be interested. And then what happens if you're feeding yourself that junk? You're not gonna put yourself out there because you're gonna think, well, if I go and put myself out there, people are not gonna like me. They're basically just working and sleeping. They don't have any hobbies at all. Therefore, you're not putting yourself out there because you're not going out and talking with people. And it doesn't stop there. People constantly think one of these three things. Everyone has their set group of friends, which means they don't need to meet new people. They're already busy. They don't need to make plans with anyone else. They don't have time for that because they already have their set plan. This is in fact not true. And I actually quickly discovered that if you ask someone to meet up, most likely they're gonna say yes. Obviously, they have to like you, else they're gonna make up some excuse. But if you are a great human being and you have an awesome personality, which I believe you do, most likely they're gonna say yes. And you'll also discover that most people don't have plans on the weekends. And this goes for people who have their circle and people who don't have many friends. It goes both ways. People are always willing to meet new people. You have to remember is that if you feel like someone else already has their friends already, those friends of theirs may be busy and may have their own other friends. So it always keeps on going. So people, you'll be surprised how free people are. Making friends, girl, should be natural and effortless. Not true. People actually believe this. And then when they realize how hard it is to make friendships, they rather complain than put in effort to make and cultivate those friendships. I believe people are actually shocked by this. I was actually watching a YouTube video by Mel Robbins about friendships. And one of the things she said, based on stats, is it takes about 150 hours to actually build a really close friendship. Does not put things into perspective. So you literally would have to be putting effort to meet this person consistently so you can get to the 150 hours. Like, meeting once and not meeting ever again is not enough. This means that if you are not being intentional about making plans consistently with that person, it's going to be very hard to cultivate the type of friendship that you're looking for. And I'm sure most people are looking for friendships where you have close friends and you can do all the things with them. I'm too old. It's too late to make new and meaningful connections. It's too late in my life. This is obviously not true, but people believe this because as an older adult, they believe it gets harder because obviously you're not in high school anymore. Right? Think about it. Based on what I said in a previous point, when you're in high school and when you're younger, you're doing all these activities. So then you're therefore seeing the person every day. But then all of a sudden, when you become an adult, obviously you're doing adult things. You're working, you're busy. So you're not seeing that person every day. So then therefore, people then say, well, it's very hard to make friendships as an adult. You have to start doing the things that you did when you're younger, when you had friends. I believe the older people get, people tend to get caught up in life. They get into this bubble and they become this hermit. They start becoming isolated. So of course it's gonna get harder because you're isolating yourself and being a hermit. And let's face it, we all know it, that you get more comfortable staying at home. If anything, I think it's way better to make friends when you're older because they have the money to do the activities that you want to do compared to when you're younger. When it comes to friendships, you need to have the right mindset. You need to be in the right type of frequency. You can't be closed off and constantly be saying how hard it is to make friends and how no one wants to go anywhere with you or they never have time. Every time you say that, you're declaring a negative declaration based on what you don't really want to happen, but every time it comes out your mouth, it comes to pass. Words are powerful. The way you think in here is powerful. Today, you are going to think positive things about friendships. I'm going to make friends. I'm going to make the right type of friends and cultivate meaningful connections. I'm going to stay open and put myself out there. Let's be real. No one wants to be around negative Nancy. People don't want to be around someone who's negative, who thinks down on themselves, who doesn't think that they're worthy. No one wants to be around that. I don't care what anyone says, especially if you're just meeting the person, you don't want to be around someone that's negative with low self-esteem. People can feel that energy and they make the decision if they want to be your friends or not. But most of the time, People want to be friends where they feel lifted up, where you guys have the same things in common. People are looking for friends where they can have an outlet. Now, I'm not saying that if you get really close, you can't talk about, good and bad things. But when you're meeting someone, people usually want to be around positive people because it impacts you too. If I meet someone that's super negative, I usually don't want to meet them again. That's the truth. Because what they're saying will affect my mindset, my well-being. Who wants to be around someone that you constantly have to counteract what they're saying? I'm going to give you some action tips on how you can meet people and make friends. So you can stop saying it's hard to make friends as an adult. It's not hard, it just takes effort. That's all it is. Download the Bumble BFF app right now. They actually have a dedicated BFF app separate from the dating app. So if you have deleted dating apps, then you're good, because now you can just merely focus on BFF apps. And so if you're not on it, you need to be on it to make friends. Dedicate time every day to swipe on a few people every day and start conversations. One of the main goals, because I find it fizzles out, is you need to make plans. So talk for a little bit and then make plans and say, hey, do you want to meet up, even if it's for ice cream or you go to the park or something, go for hiking. But the goal is that you need to get them off of the app. Make a plan, and if they make plans, then you say, hey, here's my Instagram or here's my WhatsApp. I actually ended up meeting a really good friend from doing this, and one of our first friend dates was going for ice cream, and then we sat and just talked for a very long time. But the key thing was I initiated to meet up. Once I saw, I'm like, okay, she's normal. And then now we have gone on to go on multiple things. And another thing too, what really helps with friendships is whether you are on the other end or you're the person asking, it helps if you're very open to go places. I call these people yes friends, where when you ask them to go somewhere, they're always down. I love people like that. A lot of bonus points if you're one of those people where you're very comfortable with meeting people and you're ready to meet people in public and make friends, and you're very open. It's also important that you're not using these apps because you're bored or lonely and you're only using it to make friends. I've actually seen or have heard people report how people only talk to people during the day when they're at work and never hear from them in the evening. It's just making sure that you're communicating genuinely and you're genuinely looking for friendship and not to use people. I just want to say that. Join local Facebook groups and also the chats that comes along with these groups. Now, it's something that's popping up and it's becoming very popular, and it's one of the best ways to make friendships because everyone in that group is basically looking for friends and to meet up other people because they are looking to make new friends. What you would do is look up friends and then your local city, and then you'll see groups pop up especially for friends locally where you are, or you may be in other local groups and people would recommend other groups. These are the best because usually there's a big amount of people and you can plan things. I want to show you a little bit of examples of me cultivating groups and basically creating these nice fun events. I've done this for going to escape rooms where you simply either just post or you just plan the darn thing and then add people into a small little messenger group. I've also done pottery. I started having conversations with different people and I managed to get a group of people to go pottery. And so what it really comes down to is if you're going into this group, if you want to maximize, is putting out stuff that you like doing and see if anyone else wants to do it. And put yourself out there, don't wait. And also on the other side, it's also having people put their self out there and then you make sure that you join in and you're open. One of the things that have happened is that people have seen me active in these groups and then they feel comfortable enough to reach out to me and say, hey, I noticed you're very active in the groups and I saw that you tend to go a lot of places. And that attracts a lot of people. When people see that you're very active and you're going to places, it's going to actually attract people to you because they see your name around, they see you're interacting. So that's very sexy in the friendship realm. If you want some type of action step for a Facebook group, start off by putting this. Maybe on a Saturday or a Friday, whatever day it is, to say, hey, would anyone be down to meet up to do a dinner or activity of some sort? later on today. Just put that out, and you're gonna see people say, oh yeah, I'm interested, all this stuff. You're gonna see, right, how powerful just doing that one sentence is. Try it and let me know in the comments. Find a hobby and do it consistently. Doing some type of hobby. So in my case, mine was salsa dancing, learning how to dance. And it's one of the best ways, because you know why? You start going to the classes and you start seeing the same people over and over again. And what does that mean? Opportunities to make friendships and meet up in different places where you have a common interest, which in my case, it was dancing. So honestly, I tell everyone this, like, if you want to make friends and you're too nervous to do the other two things, start by going to do a hobby, because usually those group of people will end up being your friends because you have a lot of common interests and you're seeing each other maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on how often it is. Even if it's once a week, it makes a difference. And you're going to quickly realize how much of a community there is within that said hobby. So that means there's more opportunities to meet other people with similar interests. One of the best ways to make friends, hobby. Avoiding disappointments. I want to make sure I set you up for success. Meaning that I want you to go into this with the right mindset so you avoid any type of disappointment. It's important that you go into making friendships, being comfortable doing things solo. If you haven't watched my previous video on how to do things solo while making friends, go back and watch it. Just go and watch that. And stop this video, go watch it, and come back to this. Because I share a lot of examples on why you absolutely need to be comfortable doing things solo and being very comfortable with yourself. Because it helps you not be clingy and not have high expectations for your friendship and not depend on them to fill voids. The whole purpose of friendship is not to fill your void of loneliness. We have to be clear about that. It is not to fill a void. It is there to add to your life. Meaning, if someone says no, they can't go, your world is not going to come crashing down. And then you're going to go back and isolate yourself and not put yourself out there again to ask someone if they want to do something. You're going to take this as an opportunity that if they say no, it's okay. You will just plan something else on another day or go with other friends to do do the very thing that you wanted to do. I'm sharing this because this has happened to me, and I know other people experience this and they get discouraged. I was one of those people who used to get discouraged, and when they would say no, I would automatically think, oh, they don't like me, they're not really my friend, they don't want to be my friend, you know, all the garbage thoughts about friendships. But I've grown a lot over the years, especially doing things solo. It really puts things into perspective. And it allows you to enjoy your own company and realize that it's not about you when someone says no. And I recently had this happen where I asked a friend, hey, do you want to go to this so-and-so event? They said no. I just took a minute and I was like, okay. And I ended up going into a Facebook group and I ended up getting 5 other people to go with me, and it ended up being a blast. I had a blast. And guess what? I ended up meeting with that very friend who said no, and we ended up doing something else. And there you go. Life still goes on. It's important that you're not just depending on one friend to have fun with. You should always be open to be making new friends on a consistent basis. Your goal should be to have friends in abundance, because you do not want to depend on one friend. Because if that one friend can't go, then you may get discouraged or be like down about it and be like, okay, why are you not meeting me? It's better to have multiple friends. If one friend says no, you find another friend to go with. That's how it works, baby. And of course, if along the way you find friends that you click with, then you start to meet them on a consistent basis. You try to pursue them and start asking them to go places, because eventually it'll be reciprocated. But you have to be in that mindset that it's completely okay if you just met that friend one time. That's okay. But you have to understand you're gonna get friends that you meet once, friends that you meet multiple times, and friends where it's your go-to person when you wanna go to a place, because they're very open. You're gonna have friends in different categories. Friends that just do salsa, just do your hobby, you get the point? So you have to be ready mentally for that. You're in this to create your own party and have fun, meaning you're there to initiate and plan things. Your goal is to create your own party so you can socially have fun. Never stop making new friends. Always stay open because there's great people out there.